My new coworker called me a pig, tried to police our office habits, and even went after a disabled man. I finally snapped and told her off. Plus 3 updates. I 35M have been working in this office for 3Y. We recently hired a new girl 25F, and she sits diagonally in front of me so I can see her at my desk and vice versa. We are around 1M apart. She has been working for 3 weeks and has been trying to control our office habit based on her liking. Here are the issues that has been happening and what triggered me to do what I did. 1. I have an unhealthy eating habit and snacking a lot during work. She mentioned twice, jokingly, said how I tempted her for eating cakes and how can I stay skinny even though I eat like pigs. I offered her some, she refused saying she's trying to lose weight. Fine, I stopped snacking on my desk, but my other colleagues and I still have lunch at desk when we are quite busy. Then by the end of the first week, she reported to HR and say people should not have lunch or eat at desk because it can be unhygienic and the crumbs might fell into keyboard etc. and attract bugs. She also mentioned how she was annoyed by me eating ice cream, cakes, bread etc. during work hours, and it disturbed her because she's trying hard to lose weight. So HR sent us all emails, and now everyone in the office, everyone can no longer eat anything on our desk. 2. On her second day, she complained that the girl sits next to her, Jane, was using a very strong perfume, and the scent nauseated her. Jane did wear strong perfume indeed, but it wasn't that horrible. All of us could tolerate Jane, and suddenly because this new girl couldn't tolerate her, and Jane was the one that has to change. 3. Between our team, 6 of us collect $10 weekly to buy lottery. One of the guy in our team is Muslim, and he doesn't gamble, so he never participated, but yet he never discouraged or criticized us. We offered this girl to join us, and she criticized us about how gambling is bad and say it's very unprofessional to be collecting money to gamble in office environment. She actually brought this to HR, arguing the harm and risk, and if we happened to win millions of dollars and did massive exodus, it would be harmful for the company. Luckily, HR didn't do anything about it. 4. The Muslim guy prays twice a day in our stationary room. Unfortunately, we don't have praying room in the office. He has got his praying mat and some other stuff in our stationary room, and it has been there since I start working. She suggested him to move it somewhere as he shouldn't put personal belongings in a common area. She told the other girl in our team that the old mat was not pleasant to look at. Okay, what happened today? Our desk's layout is shaped like L, and my desk is next to a glass window. In our team, there are 7 people executing her, and all of us are sun hater. We always pull down the shade, and especially the guys sitting on the other corner. They said if the window is opened, the sun would glare on their computer screen in the afternoon, and making them can't see their screen very well. This girl has been complaining how our corner is too dark and gives bad vibes, and she needs to have the shades opened up. She mentioned how the sun will makes people happier and increase productivity. I couldn't stand her anymore, so I stood up from my desk and say, I didn't yell. Look, insert her name. You have been here for less than a month, but you keep telling us what to do. We have been changing our habit to accommodate you, but then you keep pushing things. You can't keep telling us what to do. I think the best thing is for you to move to sit where the HR people sits, because it's always bright there, and you are closer with them than to us anyway. She then said I hate women and I'm bullying her, and she is telling our manager and HR about this. Am I the AH here? Did I bully her? Is it acceptable for new hire to tell older colleagues to do these things? Update. Small not so irrelevant update. I was just talking about this with my colleague who worked downstairs in storage room. I don't often go there, but this new girl has to go there every day as part of her job, and he told me a story. In my company, we hire a guy with Down syndrome to do some restocking. Let's call him Bob. Apparently a couple of days ago, an older lady who worked in the kitchen was wearing a Pikachu apron. When Bob saw the kitchen lady, he yelled Pikachu, then ran and touched the apron, so he would have accidentally touched her breast too. According to my colleague, the older lady just laughed and didn't make much of a fuss. The new girl witnessed this and say Bob has sexually harassed the old lady and she would report him to HR. LOL, she complained that Bob's behavior is very inappropriate and unsafe. Update. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up. I'm still getting so many messages and comments. BTW, I use AI this time to correct my grammatical mistakes. I'm not a native English speaker, and now I understand that it's not appropriate to use the word girl when referring to a 25-year-old woman. I didn't realize this before, thanks for the heads up, Reddit. I showed this post to two of my colleagues, and they encouraged me, and I also felt it was necessary to clarify a few things to be fair and to respond to some of your questions and comments. She actually complained about a lot of other things that I didn't mention earlier, mostly because I didn't think they were very interesting, and honestly, a few of them even benefited us. 1. Okay, so apparently wearing perfume at the workplace is not allowed. Got it. I guess Jane's just been lucky that no one's ever complained before. 2. Her comment about the Muslim guy's prayer mat was more about the way it was positioned in the storage room. Everything else is neatly arranged in wooden cupboards, but in one corner, there's a small table with the prayer mat and some religious items. She felt it looked out of place and thought personal items shouldn't be in public shared areas. That said, the prayer mat has been there since I started, and no one in the office has raised an issue about it for the past 3 years. 3. About the skinny or eats like a pig comments, I'm totally fine with it. It's just a part of our internal banter, and I'm the only person who get body shamed, if you want to call it that way, and I do allow people to do so. We don't comment on other people's bodies or eating habits, and no one is being body shamed. 4. There was no HR policy that says we can't eat at our desks, and nobody has complained about it until now. Everyone does it even in other teams like it. The new hires issue doesn't seem to be about allergies or food smells. Her main complaint was she's trying to lose weight and doesn't like watching people eat. She never brought up concerns about computer damage or bugs until she took it to HR. 5. Yes, she's currently on a 6-month probation period. This is not her first job but her second job. Apparently worked on that company for 2 years. The first job was in a different city, and she praises that company a lot. 6. I didn't mention this earlier because it kind of worked out in my favor, but one of my colleagues asked me to include it. On her second day, she asked our manager to move a cabinet closer to her desk. That cabinet used to be on the other side of the room, and I had to walk over every time I needed to use it. So now, it's more convenient for me. But of course, the people who used to sit near it, including the colleagues who asked me to mention this, are pretty annoyed, since they use it just as much as she does. She never mentioned about mobility issue or anything like that. She just wants the cabinet to be close to her. Funnily, our manager complies and get the cabinet moved. 7. She complained about how the IT guy who sits behind her has got a really loud ringtone. I personally too find it a bit annoying, but he doesn't often receive phone calls and it wasn't too bothersome for us. 8. She complained how one of our colleagues was putting on headphones when working, and she disliked it when she has to tap on his shoulder when he needs to talk to him. She literally told him, "Do you mind not putting headphones while we work? Because I don't want to be keep tapping your shoulders every time I need to talk to you, and it is disrespectful towards the others," or something along the line. We usually just send a message on MS Teams when we want to talk to him and he's on headphones. He suggested her the same, but she said she doesn't want to. 9. She complained about one Filipino woman, I almost typed girl again here lol, who brought a smelly lunch to work. Yes, I kind of agree with this complaint. To be fair, the Filipino woman actually didn't do this very often, and she usually have late lunch around 2 p.m. after people finish their lunch. Few of my colleagues and I also dislike it, but we thought nobody is perfect, and since she doesn't bring that food often, we just put up with it. 10. Also, my colleague told me he heard how she criticized few of our Asian colleagues for eating rice with spoon instead with fork. Why does this bother her? 11. She complained about our kitchen bin does not have lid. It doesn't bother us, but we can see her point. 12. She complained how we should have coffee machine. Okay, this one would be great. 13. She allegedly reported a female colleague for wearing stilettos to the office, calling it inappropriate work attire. She also apparently reported the kitchen lady for wearing a Pikachu apron, saying it was unprofessional. Lol. 14. Bob has Down syndrome or some sort of intellectual disability. I don't think he was malicious or intentionally being inappropriate. He probably doesn't have the capacity to think that it is not okay to touch other people. He didn't touch our new hire though. She just witnessed him touching another woman and immediately flag him as a potential sexual harasser. One of my colleagues genuinely thinks she might be having some mental health issues. Clearly, people commenting here are from different parts of the world and come from various cultural backgrounds. It's interesting to see how some things are totally normal in one place, but not okay in another. For instance, we've been eating at our desks for years, but apparently according to some of you, that's a no-no in some workplaces. Welp, sadly, it's not okay for us anymore either. Now genuine question here. Excluding the perfume thing, would you complain this much within 3 weeks of your initial employment? I personally think we should just put up with some little things sometimes. Life is not perfect, let alone office. Thanks again for all your input, and yeah, definitely going to HR on Monday. Update. Sorry haven't been able to update the post earlier due to personal reason. As per most of the suggestions here, I decided to report her to HR with my colleagues in our team. So on Monday morning, few of my colleagues and I had a discussion regarding this new hire behavior, and we decided to talk to our line manager first before HR. However, our manager couldn't come to work that day, legit reason. The new hire also didn't come to work, she called in sick. We then changed our plan and decided to go to HR straight away. One of the IT guy joined us too, as our new hire had harassed him with a lot of unnecessary IT requests and demanded him to make a lot of changes in our IT system, so we offered him to join us to report her to HR. He suggested that rather than complaining about how she's annoyed everyone with her complaints, we should pretend to be concerned about her struggle to adjust to our environment and get HR to talk to her, because we wanted her to have a good experience working with us. So few of us then had a meeting with HR, and guess what? HR people were also annoyed by her lol. They didn't say it directly, but subtly mentioned that she had been lodging a lot of unnecessary complaints. We also suggested that she might need to see a psychologist, as she might be having some sort of internal personal crisis, aka crazy, that lead her to make all of these complaints. The IT guy asked if she showed any signs of these behavior when HR interviewed her. And they said she asked few detailed questions about the work culture here and also complained about some stuff, parking, etc. But they didn't really think much at that time, and she had glowing reviews from her references, probably because they want to get rid of her lol. The HR team said that they will discuss this matter, and HR manager will have 11 meeting with her the next time she shows up. However, that never happened because she sent her resignation letter the following day, along with a very long list of complaints and things she wanted us to change. The most ridiculous thing is she actually sent the same email to the big boss, complaining our workplace to be unsafe, unhygienic, non-inclusive, misogynist, backwards, and radiating bad vibes. The HR lady who told us this found it strange that she didn't use the word toxic. One thing the HR found amusing was she mentioned how our workplace should provide a lot of free stuff such as bottled beverages, fruits, snacks, espresso coffee machine, dining vouchers, feminine hygiene products, petrol voucher, etc. In conclusion, good riddance. TLDR, she resigned before HR had a chance to fire her.